County Crossing has come a long way. We've restored the old house, built a commanding guard post, and added a large bunkhouse, all designed to keep the settlement safe from attack. Word of this secure homestead has spread, attracting new settlers, but more settlers mean more mouths to feed. And that brings us to today's build. We'll create a Brahmin pasture and expand the farm to keep the settlement well-fed and thriving, and we'll do it the smart way, using structure and design, not junk walls, to strengthen our defenses. We'll also tackle security around the enemy spawn point inside the settlement boundary, near the edge of the farm, to keep this area well protected. And in our next and final build for County Crossing, we'll secure the remaining side with a guarded marketplace, transforming the settlement into a thriving and self-sustaining community in the Commonwealth. All of this done without mods or glitches. So let's get started. To get started, I decreased the size bar to make room for our new build. I also moved all of the crops to clear the space for the new fence line. I'm starting the walls for the Brahmin pen right next to the bunkhouse that we built in the last video. To make use of the unscrappable shrubs in the area, I'm building around them and incorporating them into the design. This corral works great at County Crossing, but can also be built in other settlements. For the walls, I'm using the prefabricated shack pieces with the solid backs. There are several styles to choose from. I'm alternating between the two light metal wall variations to stay uniform but add a little bit of visual interest. Place the first wall next to the bunkhouse. Align it so it is approximately parallel to the settlement boundary. Slide the wall forward if there is a gap between the back of the wall and the house. For a more natural look, let's sink this into the ground a bit. To do this, snap a long scaffolding railing to the front of the prefab floor. Select the prefab and move it out of the way, leaving the railing in place. Select the railing and without moving it, click place. The railing will fall and the lower edges will land below the surface of the ground. Snap the prefab to the railing. This will lower the floor of the prefab and prevent the look of floating. Snap additional prefabs together, leaving enough room to attach a corner prefab to the last wall. I used a total of 5 prefabs for my wall, but yours may be different depending on where your wall starts. Add a corner prefab. Use one with solid walls on both the back and the side. Snap additional wall prefabs to the side of the corner. I used 3, but you can use more if you prefer. Inspecting the floors, you see they have a natural look with grass between the floorboards and dirt washed up over the wood. Remove the railing from the first prefab. We'll revisit the corral later, but now let's start on the fence. Before we start building the garden fence, let's take a quick look at the enemy spawn marker. From what I've seen in the creation kit, it's positioned just outside the corner of the original farm fence. When we place the new fence, we'll make sure that the spawn point stays outside the enclosure. Place a gate at the edge of the bunkhouse. For the fence, I'm using the cement wall with the mesh interior. Place it at the end of the gate parallel to the mound of dirt. Snap additional walls to reach the end of the planting area. I used 3 full walls and then a half wall at the end of the row. Yours may be different depending on where you started your fence. Continue the wall across the side of the planting area using approximately 2.5 walls. Here's a close-up to show the placement of the wall. Now finish the other side. I'm using 4 wall pieces along the farm edge. For now, this section will stay open, but in our next episode, we'll close it off as part of the new marketplace build. And here's an overview showing the new fence and the spawn marker. Back at the Brahmin pen, I'm adding a corner prefab and a gate. If you have enough space, a double gate works great here. I didn't have enough room, so I filled the gap with a half concrete wall and a post instead. Add finishing details such as rails on top of the walls. In the Brahmin Corral, add dividers between the stalls. Here's a few options that you can use. Add a raider tent to provide shelter for the Brahmin, plenty of hay bales, and a few Brahmin caught with the Wasteland workshop cages. Connect ambient power using conduits placed on the roof of the wall prefabs. And finally, plant potatoes, corn, and mute fruit to grow food and produce adhesive for the settlement. The settlers now have plenty of food, a safe pasture, and one more secure corner of County Crossing. Let's take a quick tour and see how everything came together. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you stopping by, and I look forward to next time.